Special Operations, Covert Ops, Espionage, The Team House, with your hosts, Jack Murphy and David Park.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 174 of The Team House. A little off-kilter Tuesday episode. Of course, we'll be back on Friday, but tonight we're here with our guest, Andrew Milburn. He's here for, I believe, the third episode,
Indeed,
your third appearance on The Team House. We really appreciate it, man. You're kind of bouncing in between here and Europe. You've been really, since the last, I was remarking before we started, your last appearance on the show, like 6 months ago or whatever it was, me and you were like joking, like, oh, Russia would never invade Ukraine. That would never happen. Well, yeah, we were pretty wrong on that one. And you got directly involved, went over there, and started the Mozart group. And I mean, before we'll get like pretty in depth, but I mean, do you want to just start right off the bat telling people what the Mozart group is and what you're doing?
Yeah,
over
absolutely.
there?
And essentially mercenaries, which is
Mad Dog Killers.
So to your, sorry, getting back to your point. So Jack, we convened here last time in January. We became unutterably drunk. We lost you when you made a bathroom break. And unfortunately, the only thing people remember was when we were comparing tattoos at the end, and I took off my shirt. And on the very last time, they found themselves out in the field under Russian artillery fire, and they realized that their platoon commander just fucking doesn't have a clue. So they walk. They're like, we're done. And they can do that. The Ukrainians aren't going to go after that. But it was 20 of these guys. There was no chest-beating bravado. There was no, like, there we were. They were all pros, very mature, and they were disappointed and shocked about what had happened. You couldn't help feeling sorry for them. They'd had one of their guys, a Finn, who was very seriously wounded, had been evacuated, and they just felt kind of betrayed by the leadership. But we've heard that story from Ukrainian soldiers, too. So what I'm saying is that there is a lot of work to do. This isn't about Ukraine for me. I'm not, it's cool. We can get all emotional about Ukraine, this and that, but Ukraine has a lot of fucking answers to Ukrainian, government, bureaucracy, military. It's a corrupt, fucked up society. So I'm not a big fan of Ukraine. For its, I care deeply about its people.
Right.
I care deeply about the Ukrainian soldiers because they're human beings, and I have a history of being a human being. But nationality, the fucking government, no.
Yeah.
But in fairness, this is about way more than Russia and Ukraine. So the people who come back to me and say, oh, you're getting too obsessed with this, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I don't think you understand. And I know you can swallow this, this mantra of, well, this is great, we're bleeding the Russians dry. And it's like, but you've got to also understand the other dynamics in this of appearance of U.S. passivity is not helping us.
Right.
I mean, it really is not.
Not only that, but yes, we are bleeding Russia dry, but it's Ukrainian blood. Like there are actually people who are bleeding.
Yeah. We haven't come into direct contact with him. Oh, what is that?
This is Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
Ian, thank you very much. Question for the group. I've seen lots of Ukrainian field interrogations of Russian soldiers. No abuse of prisoners, but video online. Is this okay under the Hague? Are there prescriptions against filming POWs?
Yes, there are. And the Ukrainians are in violation of the Hague Convention. There is I forget the exact phraseology, but it is, we looked at this closely, and it's, there should be no filming of the phrase, the terminology is bringing attention, blah, 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 to media. And yes, the Ukrainians are violating that, absolutely. They're filming of a number of things that they're doing with POWs is violating law of armed conflict. And it's not obvious. It's not like the Ukrainians are intentionally saying, hey, fuck you, we're going to... But there is an educational aspect of this that the United States probably needs to get involved in saying, hey, guys, we understand you mean well, but these things are not palatable. You cannot do these things. Filming interrogations is one of them.
Yeah.
And filming interrogations and then posting them on, even if you have the permission of the guy being interrogated, everyone knows is not we don't do that.
Is that
We as U.S. trainers absolutely will distance ourselves. As soon as anyone shows us a video of killing Russians prisoners, we're like, okay, that you have just fucking disqualified you and your whole unit for us being a touch point.
Yeah.
And we've been showing those videos plenty of times. So
Yeah.
my point is, it's a very, very dirty war, and the Ukrainians are committing plenty of violations of law of armed conflict, and we need to not accept what they're doing,
right?
but call that out.
Right.
But the way to do it isn't say, hey guys, we can't give you any other training.
Right.
Javelin
We have an EO class.
I know,
right now.
javelin
Yeah.
training, but we're going to tell you, you can't, guys.
Right.
Killing Russian prisoners is
Right. And it's interesting because in the past, in you like Latin America or whatever, if U.S. Forces or employees were involved with any force that committed, war atrocities or
right
whatever,
back, right?
you have to, you're
yeah.
done.
Yeah.
But we're obviously not going to pull our support from Ukraine at this
well,
point.
I'm saying unit by unit you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, I've got to tell you, no, they don't commit atrocities.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
the
atrocities is a
units,
big word. Yeah.
Units that we are working with are very professional in how they,
Yeah.
interrogate Russian prisoners. But
Yeah.
I want people to understand that we, Mozart Group, are there's no question of us going, oh yeah, well, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's like, as soon as we see a video of killing prisoners or anything like that, we're like, dudes, we're going to another unit.
Yeah.
And
I need to retract that. Like I said, atrocities, and I was thinking about like the Contras and Sandinistas and stuff. But you're talking about these violations.
It's atrocities. No,
Yeah.
I mean it still is. I mean you shouldn't kill dudes who, everyone knows who surrendered. I mean, and there was plenty of that. There was plenty of that. There's all kinds of atrocities to go around.
I imagine for a lot of the soldiers, and this doesn't justify it. It just gives you sort of empathy or insight into the situation. I imagine for a lot of the soldiers and a lot of the civilians that it's a very personal war.
Hugely, yeah. So, but my point is, it's not about Ukraine. We're not like, I happen to have, Ukraine flag tied to my bag, but I'm not, oh my God, Ukraine's so awesome. No, because I understand that there are plenty fucked up people running Ukraine. It's not about that. It's about global norms, right?
Right.
It's about Putin. It's like
Right.
allowing dudes in the 21st century like Putin
Right.
to do what they want to do.
It's a just fight.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. How should policy balance responding to the Russian invasion with its focus on China? Should the pivot to Asia pause to refocus on European defense?
I don't think we need to pause to refocus. I think bolstering NATO the way you've done. You've heard me. I would like to see more. I would like to see a more wholehearted U.S. support as far as provision of weapons and all that. But in answer to what he says, no, I think by really emphasizing our role here, we're sending a very clear message to the Chinese about Taiwan. And I was in MAR 4PAC. I was the plans officer for Taiwan, so I'm very familiar with our plan. And there are clear correlations, and I think that's the best way U.S. can say, hey, China, look what's happened to Russia. They've become an international pariah. But again, it gets back to the fact that the U.S. needs to support Ukraine more wholeheartedly with weapons platforms. And then they can send that message. And I think it's a great message, right?
Right.
Because China's always kind of edged forward of, so the U.S. doesn't care that much, and you're going to have to, by the time we invade, you're going to have to deploy forces forward to